Available now on Blu-ray from 88 Films is Taxi Hunter from 1993. Not to be confused with Taxi, not to be confused with Taxi Driver, not to be confused with City Hunter. This is Taxi Hunter. This is Anthony Wong, king of the Category 3 films, stars in this film that is not a Category 3 film. They pointed that out on the extras here. I presumed this was, because I always knew Anthony Wong as this guy who appeared sweaty and sleazy in all these Hong Kong Category 3. And if you don't know, Category 3 was like the equivalent of a hard R or maybe like an NC-17 in Hong Kong film ratings. And this is not a Category 3 film. This is a Category 2 or 2B or maybe not to be. This is the tale of a man, Anthony Wong, the titular taxi hunter, who is an average, meek, office-working guy, wears the specs, wears the white shirt and the tie with the short sleeves to work, and tie doesn't have the short sleeves, the shirt. Anyway, think Michael Douglas in Falling Down, and we'll get back to that. So Anthony Wong is a meek guy, and one night he and his wife are in a car, and they come across a taxi driver who's unscrupulous. And one thing leads to another, and Anthony Wong's pregnant wife winds up getting dragged to death by said unscrupulous taxi driver, who then drives off. So it's a drag and run, as it were. And that leads to the death, as I said, of Anthony Wong. I'm not going to tell you the whole story. The death of Anthony Wong's wife, and he becomes this like one-man vigilante taking out a bloody, bullet-ridden vengeance upon unscrupulous taxi drivers. What's interesting about this film, so I'd heard about this film. I was always into Hong Kong movies around the time this came out, and it was one that I just never got around to seeing. At that time, you really kind of had to buy these movies to watch them. If you were like me and living in the US and had no place to rent them, and there were no streaming services, and I didn't live near theaters that ran them, you kind of had to buy it to watch it. And it was one that looked a little too sleazy or unpleasant for me at the time to buy. So now 88 Films has come into my life and given us a stateside release of a really nice release, actually, of this film. And my expectations were thwarted. I did not expect this to be often comedic. I did not expect Anthony Wong's character to be so much of kind of still a meek, nice guy, despite going out and ruthlessly murdering strangers. Basically, the way this goes is that he'll get into a cab and he'll be like, take me to so-and-so. And if the taxi driver gives him crap about taking him there, he kills him. Or if the taxi driver is giving an old lady a hard time in the street, he kills the guy, much to the encouragement, or with the encouragement of said old lady, which was pretty funny. So the story here is Anthony Wong going and doing these things. By night, he is this ruthless vigilante murderer of taxi drivers, and by day, he's a meek office worker. His brother is a cop. Therein lies the rub. His brother is a cop who we were introduced to in like a really pretty badass action sequence at the beginning of the film with like light foo and stunts and car hijinks and so forth, pistol operas kind of stuff. And they're very close. And so Anthony Wong's brother in the film is a cop who is hunting the taxi hunter, and Anthony Wong is trying to not be the hunted, trying to avoid the huntee. So it is this interesting game of Wong doing his thing right under the nose of the man who's trying to stop him from doing it. And also some other cops are involved in this investigation. One of whom, okay, now people will correct me when I put these on YouTube, when I'm wrong about facts, when I'm wrong about pronunciation, when I'm wrong about what part of India a movie might come from. And I appreciate correction, because I love to learn about these things, and I'm trying to impart whatever knowledge I do have, but these things are actually mostly opinion. Anyway, I think I never really pronounced the name of this actor correctly. So I love the Stephen Chow films, the classic Stephen Chow films from the 90s. And his like right-hand man, his straight man, his goofy guy who was in all these films, his name was written NG space MAN space TAT. And my friends and I always called him Engman Tat. Apparently that's wrong. It's the NG is not, and again, I learned this from the extras on the disc, the NG is not really pronounced. So it's sort of like Mantat. So anyway, he's in this movie and he's great, But what's interesting is that he's doing the thing he always does. He is like the kind of the wacky comedy character, which is a pretty harsh contrast to what a lot of the movie is like. But again, this film is lighter in tone than I expected. So let us look at the packaging and talk about the extra, shall we? Because the packaging is worth, don't always do this, but the packaging is really nice on this. So it is a new artwork commissioned by 88 Films. Comes in a nice sort of sturdy matte finish slipcover. I leave the wrapper on because I'm a stickler about keeping things nice. Nice art on the back, and then the slipcover, as I like to say, slips, and we have similar artwork there, a nice black case, different stuff on the back, and you crack it open. Here's where it gets very interesting. You crack it open, you've got your disc with some different new artwork, and under that is the original, you can see there, the original poster art for the film, and a different back there again too. So it's not like a black case, it's a smoky case. And then inside is also a mini poster, which I will reveal to you, shows the newly commissioned art on one side and the original poster art on the other side. And again, that's some thicker matte finish paper for that too. What are the extras on this? I will read from this because my notes will be a shambles as always. So you get your film in the 1080p, pardon the top of my head, Blu-ray, presented in 1:8:5 aspect ratio, 2.0 Cantonese mono with English subtitles, audio commentary with Hong Kong film expert Frank Zheng, who's always great. I always say that he is on a lot of these Asian releases. And as a man who worked with a lot of these people and has worked in the Hong Kong home video or Hong Kong to US home video industry for years, he knows his stuff. You have Hunting for Words, an interview with scriptwriter and producer Tony Leung Hung Hwa, a How to Murder Your Taxi Driver, an interview with action director James Ha, Falling Down in Hong Kong, an interview with star Anthony Wong, trailer, still gallery, and reversible cover. So timings on these things. The interview with the scriptwriter and producer is 29 minutes. The interview with action director is 27 minutes. And the interview with Anthony Wong is 15 minutes. Trailer is 4 minutes. And there are 25 images in the still gallery, which are mostly on-set stills, posters, and lobby cards. So I had started to say earlier, Falling Down. This film is a lot like Falling Down, the Michael Douglas, Joel Schumacher film from the 90s. I don't remember when that came out. I kind of want to say, knowing Hong Kong films, that probably came out before this one did. I think they sort of downplay how much it inspired this film, but it's clearly inspired by Falling Down. So think of this movie as like a little bit Taxi Driver, a little bit Falling Down, and a little bit every vigilante film. So this was a surprise to me. I didn't love this movie, but it was very interesting to finally see it. It was interestingly lighter in tone than I thought. Some good action here and there, and just a good undercurrent of darkness to this, much like the aforementioned Taxi Driver and Falling Down. So transfer looks great. You know, throw away all of your old Hong Kong, your Mea and Taiseng DVDs and stuff from the old days, which were fine transfers in their day, but gone are the burned-in Chinese and English subtitles where something white is always on the bottom of the screen so you can't read the English subtitles. Gone are the transfers where things are so dark you can't really make out any detail in the night scenes. This looks really good. So available now on Blu-ray. Oh, let me look. What region is this? This is region A and B, which again, the 88 Films is a British-based Blu-ray company, so a lot of their titles are either UK only or they're coded to be UK and America. The ones that are released here are UK and America. So should you, for some reason, buy this Blu-ray and then move to England and buy a Blu-ray player over there, it'll work for you. Available now on Blu-ray from 88 Films is Taxi Hunter.